be honest for a second. When you think about the girl you want, the one you can't stop thinking about, it's not really her you want. It's not her voice. It's not even her body. It's the feeling she gives you, that rush in your chest when she looks at you, that high you feel when she laughs at your joke, that little spark of pride when she chooses you over other men. It's not her. It's what you feel because of her. And that's where the trap begins. Because when you start chasing a feeling, you stop thinking clearly. You stop leading your life. You start trying to get that high again. You call too often. You text too much. You try to impress her. You try to do things to get her attention back. You put her on a throne and forget your own place in your own kingdom. This is how lust fools men. It makes them think they're chasing love. But really, they're chasing a drug, that dopamine hit, that emotional sugar rush. And like any sugar rush, it crashes hard. You don't feel strong. You feel desperate. You feel like something is missing. But it's not her that's missing. It's your center. It's your power. It's your calm. The Stoics knew this. They understood that desire, when not controlled, turns into weakness. It turns strong men into followers, into beggars. Not because they love too deeply, but because they never stop to ask, what am I really chasing? Here's what's real. A woman can never give you what you're missing inside. She can't complete you. That idea is a lie, and men who believe it suffer the most. Because when she leaves, or when she loses interest, they feel like they lost everything. But the truth is, you didn't lose her. You lost your illusion. And as painful as that is, it's also your chance to wake up. To take your power back, you have to see the game clearly. You don't want her. You want to feel seen. You want to feel worthy. You want to feel important. All of that is already inside you. But you've been told to look for it in her eyes, in her attention, in her love. That's why it hurts so much when she's gone, because it feels like your value left with her. But your value was never hers to give. That's what you must remember. You don't become more valuable when she says yes. You don't become less valuable when she says no. A real man isn't built by attention. He's built by purpose. He's driven by direction. His emotions don't rule him. He rules them. And because of that, he becomes rare. He becomes powerful. And yes, he becomes deeply attractive. Because women can feel the difference. A man who wants her versus a man who wants the feeling she gives. One feels strong, the other feels needy. One feels calm, the other feels like a storm looking for shelter. And women don't want to mother you. They want to join you. They want to be a part of your life, not be your whole life. So what does that mean for you? It means the next time you feel that ache in your chest, the one that tells you I need her, you stop, you breathe, you ask yourself, what is this really about? Is it loneliness? Is it insecurity? Is it boredom? Be honest. Because when you name it, you take away its power. You stop being a puppet to your emotions. And that is where true strength begins. You think you're addicted to her, but you're actually addicted to the version of yourself that shows up when you're with her. Let that sink in. When you're with her, you feel confident. You feel wanted. You feel like you finally matter. For once, the world feels good. Your chest feels open. Your energy feels alive. And when she leaves, even just for a day, it all crashes. Suddenly, you're not the man you were just hours ago. You feel hollow, anxious, doubtful. But here's the truth most men never stop to realize. She didn't take that version of you away. You gave it away. You made her the key to your emotional power. And that's why she holds the upper hand. Here's the brutal truth no one tells you. If you only feel strong when you're with her, then that strength isn't real. It's rented. And when she walks out the door, she takes the lease back with her. Real strength is owned, not borrowed. The reason Stoic men are so calm and powerful is not because they feel nothing. It's because they own themselves, their emotions, their attention, their inner state. They don't wait for a woman to light their fire. They are the fire. So ask yourself, who are you when she's not around? That's the man that matters most. That's the man the world sees. That's the man she eventually sees too. Because let me tell you something, a lot of men don't want to hear. The woman isn't watching what you do when you're chasing her. She's watching what you do when she stops giving you attention. Do you panic? Do you spiral? Do you start begging, over-explaining, proving? Or do you stay calm, stay focused, stay in motion? Women are intuitive. They know when you're clinging to them for your identity. They know when you're secretly afraid they'll leave, even if you act cool on the outside. And the moment they sense that fear, their attraction starts to fade. Not because they're cruel, but because you stopped being the man they respected. You started needing instead of leading. That's why silence and space are powerful. Not because they make her miss you, but because they force you to meet yourself without distraction, without her energy to fill your void. Just you, raw, honest, still. Most men run from that silence, but the ones who face it, they evolve, they grow. They stop chasing feelings and start building character. They become the kind of man who doesn't chase women because he doesn't have to. Not because he's heartless, but because he's whole. And when a man is whole, his presence alone speaks louder than 1,000 words. He doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't need to be loud, flashy, or overly charming. He knows who he is, and that knowing creates a calm that women feel. So here's the challenge. Stop thinking about what she feels about you, and start focusing on what you feel about yourself when she's not around. Are you proud of the man in the mirror? Or do you only feel worthy when she says you are? That answer will tell you everything. What if I told you that the pain you feel when she pulls away isn't actually about her at all? Most men think it's about her attention, her love, her presence. But look deeper. When she goes quiet, what really starts to scream is not the loss of her, but the loss of your sense of safety. That feeling of being seen, desired, validated. That's what you're chasing. It's not her texts you miss. It's how you felt when you got them. It's not her voice you crave. It's the comfort that voice gave you. And it's not her body you long for. It's the permission to finally relax when you're with her. But here's the cold truth. If she holds the key to your peace, then you're not in love. You're in need. And need repels attraction. Let's break that down. Neediness isn't about saying, I want you. That's normal, healthy. What makes neediness toxic is when your happiness depends on her response. When your day falls apart because she didn't reply fast enough. When your mind spins with stories just because she wasn't as warm today. That's not love. That's emotional addiction. And what makes it worse? Most men don't even know they're doing it. They disguise it as being romantic, as giving effort, as just caring. But deep down, it's fear. The fear that if she stops caring, they'll stop being okay. That's why detachment is so powerful. Not because it makes you cold, but because it makes you whole. When you detach, you don't stop loving. You just stop leaking your power into someone else's hands. You reclaim your emotions. You reclaim your focus. You reclaim your peace. And most importantly, you start to see clearly. Because here's the secret. When you're emotionally desperate for someone, your mind doesn't see her accurately. You create a fantasy version of her. You overlook red flags. You ignore the fact that you two might not even be aligned. You give more than you should. And worst of all, you betray yourself. Detachment breaks the illusion. It helps you step back and ask, am I in love with her? Or am I just addicted to how she made me feel? That one question alone can save you years of pain. When you realize that it was never really about her, everything changes. You stop trying to win her back. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop chasing a feeling that was never supposed to come from her in the first place. You were supposed to give that feeling to yourself. You were supposed to become the source. So the next time you miss her, ask yourself, what exactly do I miss? Is it the woman? Or is it the part of me that I've forgotten how to access without her? Once you know the answer, you're no longer a prisoner of emotion. You become a student of yourself. And in that space, you start becoming the kind of man who doesn't chase connection, but attracts it by being deeply, quietly whole. What if the worst heartbreak of your life was actually your greatest teacher? Not about love, but about you? Let's talk about the silence after the storm. The part after the breakup, after the ghosting, after she said, I'm just not feeling it anymore. That deep empty space where everything is quiet, except your mind. Thoughts racing, chest heavy, memories looping. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Or worse, was I not enough? But what if that space, that pain, was the doorway to your strength? Most men run from that silence. They jump into distractions. Another girl, more work, endless scrolling, anything to avoid sitting with the pain. But here's the catch. If you never sit with it, you never see it. And if you never see it, you never heal it. You just carry it into the next connection, and the next, and the next. That's how the cycle repeats. The pain of not being chosen isn't about her. It's about the wound she touched. Maybe it was rejection from your past. Maybe it was abandonment as a kid. Maybe it was the belief you've always carried, that you had to perform to be loved, that you had to earn your worth. And so, you chase. You give too much. You try too hard. Not because you're weak, but because deep down, you're still asking the world to tell you you're enough. But what if you stopped? What if, instead of trying to fix the pain by chasing her again, you faced it head on? That's the path most men never take. And that's the path that turns a man into something rare. A man who doesn't need anyone to pick him, because he already chose himself. This is where detachment becomes your power. It's not distance for the sake of playing hard to get. It's space, so you can finally see yourself clearly. To realize your value was never dependent on her staying. That her leaving didn't decrease your worth. It just exposed how fragile your self-image was. Real men don't run from heartbreak. They use it. They sit with the ache. They get curious about their triggers. They ask hard questions like, why did I ignore the red flags? Why was I so afraid to walk away? Why did I tie my entire identity to how she felt about me? And through those questions, they rebuild. They stop trying to impress. They stop trying to fix. They stop trying to convince someone to love them. Instead, they start leading. With clarity, with direction, with emotional stability. And guess what? That's when people start to feel pulled toward you. Because you're no longer reacting, you're responding. You're no longer chasing peace, you are peace. And women feel that. They sense it in your tone, in your body language, in your boundaries, and they respect it. But more importantly, you respect it. That's the art of transformation. The heartbreak didn't break you. It revealed you. And now, instead of chasing feelings, you create them within yourself. So the next time you're left on red, ghosted, or passed over, smile. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because you now understand. It was never about her choosing you. It was about you choosing yourself. And that's the beginning of becoming a man. No one forgets. Midnight. Why does she stop respecting you the moment you start needing her? Let's break a truth most men avoid. Neediness kills attraction. Not because women are cruel, not because they're ungrateful, but because neediness feels heavy. It signals to her that you're lost without her. And the moment you need her to feel whole, safe, or worthy, she stops feeling drawn to you. Think about it. Attraction isn't built through closeness alone. It's built through polarity, the push and pull, masculine and feminine, structure and emotion, certainty and flow. But when you get needy, you flip that dynamic. You collapse your edge. You lean in too much. You wait for her texts. You adjust your life for hers. And without realizing it, you trade your power for her attention. But here's the deeper problem. It's not really her you're craving. It's the feeling she gave you. Maybe she made you feel seen, safe, desired. Maybe for the first time in a long time, you felt like a man again. That's powerful, but dangerous too, because when she becomes the source of those feelings, you start clinging to the wrong thing. You're not chasing her. You're chasing the version of you that you liked when you were with her. And that's why losing her hurts so much. Not just because she's gone, but because the man you were around her feels gone too. So what's the solution? You rebuild that version of yourself without needing her there. You reconnect with your own power, your own peace, your own depth. You stop outsourcing your identity to women and start creating a life that reflects who you really are. Your values, your goals, your standards. You become the source of the feelings you are seeking, because when you know how to create confidence without being validated, when you can feel grounded without being chosen, when you can stay calm without being in control, that's when you're truly free. And women can sense that freedom. They feel it in how you talk, in how you take your time, in how you don't chase approval, in how you don't panic when they pull away. You're no longer trying to keep her. Because now you understand. You never really wanted her. You wanted the mirror she held up. And once you learn to hold that mirror for yourself, you stop needing love to feel whole. You stop begging for attention. You stop fearing rejection. You stop losing yourself in women because you finally found yourself as a man. And that kind of man, that's the one she's afraid to lose. Not because of what you do for her, but because of who you are with or without her. Why does she only want you when you stop waiting for her? Let's talk about something that messes with a man's head more than almost anything else. When the moment you stop caring, she suddenly starts chasing. It feels like a trick, like a glitch in the system. But it's not. It's nature. It's psychology. And it's Stoic truth in action. Here's what's really happening. When you stop waiting, emotionally, mentally, physically, you signal something powerful. I'm not holding my breath for you. And that changes everything. Because women are not drawn to a man who makes them his son. They're drawn to a man who already has a sky full of stars. Now listen closely. This isn't about being cold. It's not about acting like you don't care when you do. It's about shifting where your energy flows. If all your attention is tied to her, she feels it. The invisible weight, the quiet pressure, the expectation, and it makes her pull away even if she likes you. But when your attention returns to your mission, your purpose, your passions, the weight disappears, the pressure lifts, and suddenly, without you saying a word, your absence becomes magnetic. Why? Because women feel your center. They sense when you've detached not to hurt them, but to reconnect with yourself. And that calm strength, that quiet focus, that untouchable energy, that's what draws them back. Because now you're not reacting to her behavior. You're not flinching when she's distant. You're not trying to chase her moods. You've stopped orbiting her world and started building your own. And here's the part no one tells you. When she realizes she no longer controls your peace, your focus, or your movement, that's when her attraction rises. Not because she wants to control you again, but because she respects what you've become. She starts asking, where did he go? Why doesn't he need me anymore? What is he building without me? That's the power of strategic absence, not as a tactic, but as a truth. Because when you stop showing up for drama, for testing, for endless seeking, you show up more powerfully for yourself. And that shift rewires how people see you, how women feel around you, and how you feel about yourself. But here's the real win. You stop chasing feelings she gave you, because now you're giving them to yourself. Fulfillment isn't in her arms anymore. It's in your routine. Peace isn't in her replies. It's in your boundaries. Power isn't in her affection. It's in your direction. So stop waiting. Stop watching your phone. Stop measuring your worth by her warmth. Because the moment you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your power. And she'll feel it, whether she ever tells you or not.